Hi, everybody. Good to see some of you again who have been with us all day. My name is Adam Vasallo. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, and I have the privilege of moderating our panel today with two esteemed individuals. Dan, Sway, feel free to introduce yourselves.
Okay. I'm Sway Calloway. Oh, you go first. No, you go.
You don't need an introduction.
You said sure, and I cut him off, right? I do radio. That's what we do every morning. But I'm Sway Calloway. I work with SiriusXM satellite radio. But I worked in the music business for decades as an artist, as an independent label owner, as a marketing company, as a correspondent for MTV for decades, a producer, just in a creative space and finding ways to create platforms that bring a lot of exposure and to design to help uplift other people to reach their goals and their dreams. So I've been in the business a long time, Dan. And so, I became a game changer with BBBS for a while now, and we've done a couple engagements so far. I was in Dallas recently hosting a big event we did down there. I've had a lot of our mentees come up into our radio show, which is syndicated globally, and gave them a taste of that and put them on the air, interviewed them, and been able to maintain a lot of connections since. That's it in a nutshell.
Sway, it's great to have you again. You really don't need an introduction, especially in this room. But I have to add that we did have Sway MC. It's really hard for me to moderate right now because I've seen Sway MC on a stage at a live event. He's way better than me.
That's not true.
But what I'll share is that we were excited all week because we were at our conference and we had an amazing young DJ. Her name's DJ Sophia. And, I remember thinking like, oh, it's great. We have to introduce her to Sway when he gets here. Sway already knew her. It's already a friend, already somebody he mentored. And so it's great to see somebody who it's at his core, it's an authentic value to him to mentor and to support young people and youth empowerment. So it's great to see you again. And Dan.
I got to follow that. Hi, I'm Dan Levi. Excuse me. Chief Marketing Officer of Clear Channel Outdoor. So I am by far less cool than Sway. But I like to think that we also have somewhat of a social impact. So why is a billboard company sitting up here? If you think about it, billboards are an advertising medium that's literally a physical part of the community. We exist in our markets because the markets allow us to be there. And so we take very seriously the idea of social impact and giving back and supporting our community. And so we've been partners with Big Brothers Big Sisters for coming up on 3 years now, I think. And I like to think that we're helping the cause. But more than that, just a fantastic partnership and a great group of people to work with. So I'm excited to be here today and talk to you guys.
That's awesome.
And I worked at MTV back in the early 90s, so we got that connection.
Man, see, they're both cool.
Well,
they both worked at MTV.
A long time ago.
I worked at a station called 106 KML in San Francisco and 92.3 The Beat in Los Angeles at one time were owned by Clear Channel. Yeah, so
Really going
That's
back.
less than 6 degrees to anybody keeping track at home. Sway, I'm going to start with you. You mentioned being a game changer, which we're going to talk a lot about. But tell me, when you're looking at an organization, a social impact, a cause to invest your time into, what are some things that you're looking for, and how are you making these decisions?
I have my fortitude, the things that are important to me, that are rooted in my upbringing, which was in Oakland, California. And so the type of dynamic I grew up in and the environment I grew up in, a lot of the households were single-parent households. And so I looked at that time, I realized there were organizations that my mother had made us aware of that I was involved in, that I could see the impact of the work that they were doing. I could see how these organizations, these community orgs created an ecosystem within those neighborhoods that was supportive of those families that may have lacked. And so where they lacked, these organizations were filling in voids. Not only that, kids who were growing up in single-parent households really didn't experience the single parent because the ecosystem that these organizations were creating would step up in the places where there was lack. And so these organizations brought light. And those are the sort of things I look for where I can see a direct impact in the work that the organization has done, what the incentives are, You know, for example, with this particular organization that I got a chance to be involved with, there are a lot of young men who don't have men mentors, you know, across the board, and sometimes they just want somebody to talk to. You know, I have a lot of experience now that I like to share, and I could get the direct impact myself. One of the best parts about mentoring is not what you teach, it's what you learn, you know. And so with this organization, I've seen that. You know, I'm a big proponent of education, health and wellness, those sort of things. I grew up running track. There was a track coach that told me, he guaranteed me if I did well, if I was disciplined on this track, it would transcend in every other area of my life, whether it was mental health or wellness, whether it was business, whether it was education. And the discipline I learned from that, we use track and field to really educate ourselves and strengthen ourselves, mind, body, and soul. I saw the direct results of it. So my story is not probably different from many others, but my accomplishments, I think, have been inspiring to a lot of folks. And so I utilize those to help influence or suggest things to them that might help improve the quality of their life. This organization does that. When we were in Dallas, man, that was a party, but it was a party with a cause, you know. And if I could see a direct impact that an organization is making and our goals are aligned, it's a no-brainer for me.
That's awesome. So well said.
No, don't do that, man.
That's right. Got a cheering section. Just say that after I talk, too. Dan, building on this, so we can connect this here, because I want to hear similarly, you know, when Clear Channel's looking at a cause to invest in and support, what are you looking for? And I'm going to also tee you up because we can show some creative, because these two have worked together. Dan, last year we launched a campaign at Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. It was called It Takes Little to Be Big. It was built on two insights that many prospective volunteer mentors feel like they don't have time or they don't have what it takes to be a mentor. And the truth is, all it takes is to be present and persistent. Those are the only two qualities required. And so what we did was we launched an influencer platform called Gamechangers. Sway was one of our first leaders who signed up. We focused our first cohort on recruiting prominent male black leaders to take the mic, to lead, to come up from across industries, and most importantly, just to advocate for mentorship, but also to create access and opportunities for the young people in our program. And the reason that we're doing that and that we focused, and it was so important that we have the Sways of the world sign up to support us, is that 30,000 young people were waiting on our waiting list. The majority of those young people were boys, and the majority of those boys were boys of color. And so it was critically important that we start. So I'm going to share some results from the campaign, but I want to first show it. And when we first said, hey, Dan, we have this campaign, it's called It Takes Little Big. We met at a conference kind of similarly, and he said, I think Clear Channel can be a solution for it. And we'll click through some of the visuals, but we'd love to also hear some of your thoughts behind it.
Yeah, so our relationship started similar to what someone was saying before. I saw artists speak, and he was unbelievably inspiring. And then I learned that my friend Ryan was on his board, and I learned Ryan's story as far as being a little and growing up with the organization. And so literally, artists got off stage, and I stalked him and said, we've got to talk. And the three of us had lunch. And that was the beginning of what's turned into a 3-year relationship. From our perspective, we're a very visual medium and a very visible medium. And so it's very easy for causes to reach out to us and say, can you give us some free billboards? And we do that all day long. What we're looking for is partners that we can actually activate with. We're looking for partners, not people who are looking necessarily for free ads. Free ads are great. But the way that we started was on the It Takes Little to Be Big campaign. We've since supported Gamechangers. You've joined our company. We have an internal mentorship program. So Adam spoke to our internal program about the importance of mentorship. Artists spoke at our industry conference earlier this year, which was just amazing to see, not just the great reaction he got because he's a great speaker, but the people that were putting up their hands saying that they were a little or they were big, they want to get involved. It's a very inspiring cause. You guys are featured in our holiday card we're sending out to all of our clients this year. We really take seriously the idea of partnership, and having an engaged partner like you and the team have been has just been great. And we're working on taking that beyond Clear Channel. So Clear Channel is a great company. We love working with anyone in the room here, but we're one part of a much bigger industry, the out-of-home advertising industry. And so we're working right now on building off of what Clear Channel has developed with you guys to an industry partnership, and hopefully allow us to make an even greater impact together. So it really comes down to, are you good partners who want to really, truly work with us? And so many of the things that were said on previous panel discussions apply. It's about understanding what your needs are, what our needs are, and how do we come together to really make an impact together.
That's well said. We'll look at it a little bit more creative here, because you'll get to see Sway's actual appearances within the campaign. I know we can't really see it very well. You look great, though. Here. What I'll share, though, is I would love for both of you to just kind of talk about, especially in the out-of-home industry, the importance of influential voices, the importance of Sways. And you can kind of see it here. There was a Times Square moment. There's some really great stuff that we got to do together. But would love for you to just share.
So I've been in the media industry for 37 years now, so it's very easy to look at it and go, oh, it's an ad. For a lot of people, being on the giant canvas of a billboard, let alone in Times Square, it's a really, really big moment. And so we find that a lot of celebrities and influencers really celebrate when their face, their brand, their name is on a billboard. And so what we try and do with partners like you guys is amplify that and turn that into bigger moments. And so Sway being in Times Square on the giant billboards wasn't just an opportunity for you to see your face up there. It was an opportunity to capture that and put that across social and really turn it into a moment. One of my favorite I have this in my office at work. You guys know who Danielle Brooks is? She's an actress. She wrote an article for the New York Times a few years ago. It was just a ongoing column where famous people, celebrities, would write about the first time and for her it was the first time I saw my face on a billboard. And it was really, really meaningful, not just because of what I do for a living, but she crystallized this idea of seeing yourself on that like grander canvas as a validation of who you are and what you're doing. And so we think about our nonprofit and cause partners in the same way. By us getting behind Big Brother, Big Sister's mission, it helps us elevate that, it helps us celebrate that, and especially for a campaign like Gamechangers that's driven by the popularity, the influence, the leadership of people like Sway, it gives us the ability to provide a little bit of more oomph to that and support for that. So.
I love that. Sway and...
Yeah, I discovered a long time ago that, these platforms mean nothing if they're not affecting change, some type of social empowerment, speaking on civil duties, civic duties. And I learned that early on. I learned working on a radio station once, and I was just playing on the mic, joking, and just being an obnoxious radio host. And I said things I didn't remember I said by the time the show ended. And I went into, I was in the Bay Area at the time, and I remember going to an event in the street, and a woman approached me with a 9-year-old son and said, we used to listen to you every day, but it was something you said that unfortunately I won't be able to listen to you anymore. I said, well, why not? I couldn't remember what I said. And she said, well, what you said, my son start repeating and start behaving in this way. And I realized then the power of this microphone and the power, eventually when I started working at MTV, of the camera. And just the person I am, I knew that the celebrity, I don't really, subscribe to the celebrity, but people do. So I could use the celebrity as a caveat, as a carrot to bring attention to causes. So a lot of times, even on our show now, I have parents and kids call, and I tell them, have your kids call up, 9-year-old, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and we talk to them and let them express themselves. And I want them to hear themselves on the radio because it's a delay. And they'll be able to 10 seconds later hear themselves on the radio. And the things we're talking about is education, self-love, confidence, smiling, all of these different things that you want to make sure you practice on a day-to-day basis. These platforms, for me, aren't fulfilling unless it's fulfilling other people. And working with you all give me an opportunity. We got about 5 million followers in total, so it gives me an opportunity to, if I could reach 5 of those 5 million, and those 5 could reach 5 of their 5 friends, and so on and so forth. We connect as kinetic energy, and we could just create a better environment, more positive environment for our youth to grow up in. It's a up and down world, and sometimes they can't separate themselves. I'd rather them be mentored by humans than mentored by the internet, you know, and if I could utilize the internet to bring them into these type of spaces, then that's what my goal is. I mean, we still crack jokes and all of those different things and talk to A-list celebrities, from actors to artists, but the underlying goal is to encourage those who listen to us for social empowerment and to make social impact and change. And I get off on that, you know. That's more satisfying than, you know, some of the award shows we've hosted or the stages from a Grammy to the Oscars, all those different things. I realize none of it is as fulfilling as having Lil Shane right here come up to me who met, what up, Shane? Stand up, man. I called your name out, man. Be a star, all right? You know, but we met in Dallas, you know, and we had a great interaction in Dallas, and now we have this connection. And so it's my job to feed him, but he doesn't realize he's feeding me along the way. So, yeah, that's what it's about to me.
Can I just adding on that, you use language like the platform and using a platform for good. For me, I mentioned I was at MTV. I was 25 years old, and I got hired at MTV. And for me, it was all about like being surrounded by music and celebrities and fun and all that stuff. And what I learned there is you can do all that. You can be successful as a business, and you can also make an impact on society. And this is back in the day when we launched, you know, Rock the Vote and getting people out to actually vote and participate in society and all that. And it really is something that later in my career, I look back on that and like have thought about how influential that was in setting me in the direction that I am now. Like I'm at the tail end of my career. And the thing that I get the most satisfaction from isn't necessarily driving shareholder value and growth and all of that, is this. And I love that I'm in a position where I can actually support the business, drive the business forward, drive success for our clients, and come home at night and talk about the fact that we're supporting young people and doing the good work that we're doing. So.
Speaking of driving success for your clients, speaking of supporting causes and empowering young people, the last couple slides, and we'll click through. Right now, everybody's seeing the Littles from Big Brothers Big Sisters in New York City on your show. Visiting you, just one of the many mentoring moments you've hosted, Sway.
I'm all over that screen. Huh?
That's right. That's right. You just can't see it. But as what you'll see on the next few slides are some of those outcomes that we've received as part of the campaign. And again, we've enjoyed working with Clear Channel. We obviously love working with Sway and all of our Gamechangers. But what you'll see is in 1 year since we launched It Takes a Little to Be Big, we've had a 33% increase in volunteer signups year over year. And maybe most importantly, when we go back and think of those young people who are on our waiting list, we've seen a 7% increase in volunteers, men of color, signing up to be volunteers in our program. And it comes to being authentic and being connection and being a part of the community. So thank you so much, both of you, for what you've done. And I want to see, Ariel, do we have time for some questions? 5 minutes. Good.
Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
I was having a conversation with someone earlier during the break. There's a lot of brands in the room, and those brands have connections. One of the things I love about working with you guys, and I'm just putting it out there, the way that we as an industry and as companies can make more impact is by coming together, by collaborating. And so part of what we try and do at Clear Channel is kind of cross-pollinate the causes and brands that we work with. Artists has spoken at, I'm on the board of an education nonprofit. So we've connected the dots there because education and mentorship, without either of those, kids are not going to be successful, right? So just putting this out there as a call, if there are brands who are working with Big Brothers Big Sisters and you'd like to figure out how the three of us can work together to make even greater impact, give me a call.
I like that. Great. That's great. That's great.
Great. Questions? Yes.
Time, research. You know, I look at some of the things they've done in the past. You know, I look at the reaction of some of the things they may have done in the past. Big Brothers Big Sisters of America is an organization my older sister was a part of in the 90s. So, you know, this goes way back. You know, this is a legacy brand to me, a heritage org to me. And if what I'm out to do is aligned to what they're doing, you know, I love, you know, speaking with youth who may have been influenced or have experienced any of the things I've done over the years. And I want to share so much because I've been in it for 3 decades as well, and I learned a lot. And even though I speak a lot on my platforms, I got a lot I want to share. Like I want to just give optional ways of thinking, you know, a variety of perspectives on how to approach and look at the world. And then also mindset is really important to me. How do we improve and strengthen our mindset and discipline it on a daily basis where that there aren't any bad days. There may be a bad moment in your opinion, but hey, that's not a bad day. You know what I mean? If you could show people different ways of how to look at life, it could possibly help them navigate through it. And so this organization in particular, there's been a few I've been a part of. There was one called Get Schooled years ago. We used to go into different school districts and challenge those districts to improve on their attendance, which we believe would help improve on the studying and the test scores and give us better results. And we would bring in concerts. I might have had Nicki Minaj with me. I had Kendrick in Alaska. I had Common in Dallas, all these different people utilizing their celebrity influence too as well to get the people we're trying to reach excited about it. The celebrity is just a carrot. It's a lure. Once you meet these folks, they realize that's just a tag and that's how somebody else views you. You know what I mean? But I do a lot of research. I want to make sure that we're aligned because I'm committed. You know, Adam, if you've asked me, you know, can you come down and be a part of this conversation with Dan? You know, if I can do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm not just here for face value. I'm really here to make a difference or help make a difference. Thank you, Kenny Green.
Hey, my claim to fame is I'm Ed's partner, but don't blame me on that. Okay. But we trademarked the term leaders who care, and we trademarked the term leaders who care because we work with brands and whatnot that the leaders really do care, and we have proof they care. One of the questions we ask them on the podcast is, who have been influencers in your life? Can you each talk about one or two people that have been influential to you?
I'll go first. So about a decade ago, the reason I'm at Big Brothers Big Sisters, I became a big brother at the urging of some of my colleagues at work, and now I get to work here. But my little brother Adrian and I were matched for 7 years until he graduated high school. He went on to be a college football player. He became a father of 2 of his own. He now referees in my son's flag football league. It's a full circle moment on weekends. But mentorship is a two-way street, and I feel like I got more out of the relationship than he ever did, and he's driven me to be sitting in this chair today, and so that would be my mentor.
It's gonna sound like a cliche, but my dad. My mom died when I was 7 years old. That we were 4 kids with a single father for a number of years before we were married. You learn the way you go about life from your parents. So I think part of what motivates me today comes back to, you know, wanting to do good for him.
I'll give you 3 quick ones. My grandfather, who was a man who migrated from, my family came from Jamaica into the South, to Louisiana, and then he migrated to the West Coast, and he didn't finish his education at that time, but he started working in construction and building some of the highways we now know in Northern California. Went back and finished his education in his 40s, right? And he had a lot of nice things, but lived within his means. And I asked him, how are you able to afford these things? He said, I work hard, but make sure you play hard. As hard as you work, you make sure you want to play. He was one person that really had heavy influence. And then there was another man who was a guy who came from a street life, you know, and had turned his life around, found spirituality and became a righteous man. And he would teach me about a lot of history, and he taught me to never worry about money. He said money is something, no matter how much you lose, you can always make back, you know. But be concerned about those things that you're passionate about, because if you ever lose your passion, that's when you'll get lost. And so I took that. I made more money than I ever did when I stopped worrying about it, you know. So, yeah. So.
Gentlemen, fantastic. Great job.
Our role,
Right.
man.